Hey everyone, Ken Cannon here again with Living in Chapel Hill, the channel that helps you learn about all the reasons why Chapel Hill is the coolest town in North Carolina to live in. Today we're going to be talking about 7 things you need to know if you're thinking about moving to the Chapel Hill area. We're going to count them down from 7 to 1, so if you are thinking about moving to the area, stick around to find out all those reasons. Also, be sure to hit like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss new videos coming out every week. Alright, let's do it.
Welcome to Living in Chapel Hill, the channel that's dedicated to helping you learn what it's like to live, work, and play in the coolest town in North Carolina. I'm your host, Ken Cannon, and this is Living in Chapel Hill.
Welcome back everyone, Ken Cannon here with Living in Chapel Hill, and today we're going to be counting down the top 7 things you need to know if you're thinking about moving to Chapel Hill. If you are thinking about moving to the area, I'd highly encourage you to reach out to my team of experienced agents. We'd be happy to help answer any questions you have, from what it takes to find the perfect rental place to how to buy a home in this area. Reach out at the contact information below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Alright, let's dive in to number 7. Number 7. The rental market. It's a seasonal rental market. What does that mean? Well, everything in this town really kind of orbits around the university and the university calendar. So with rental season, it tends to be that the properties closer to campus really adhere to the academic calendar. And so we see from undergraduate rentals, just as an aside, before I got into brokerage, my previous line of work, I was in private investment, where we would predominantly focus on student rental properties. We would buy, fix, or build student rental properties, and so we were very aware of this seasonal this kind of seasonal tide of the rental season. And if you weren't paying attention to that and you missed it and you didn't get tenants rented and you places rented during that season, you could be stuck with some empty places, because then all of a sudden there was nobody looking anymore. So it's important that you pay attention to the season. And what it looks like it starts in October of the year prior. The undergraduates start looking for places, and they tend to snatch up the places that are close to downtown, close to the bars and nightlife, and close to campus, of course, although it seems to be that the priority tends to focus more on the nightlife side than the study side. As you get into the graduate student neighborhoods, those are kind of on the South Campus area. That season starts in March, when graduate students kind of find out where they're going to be placed, and by April, May, those are really all rented out, and so they should be you should be kind of looking ahead of time if you're looking for a place for, let's say, like August, starting with the school year. So an undergraduate looking to rent a place starting for the following August would start looking in October. A graduate student looking to rent for the following August would start looking, say, in March, April, and have that signed no later than May. And then anybody who's not looking for the university kind of gets what's left. And so what does that mean? That means there's like peripheral properties that are a little further away from campus. There's some apartment complexes that have more diverse residents, and so it's less attuned to the academic calendar. And there are other areas in town too, where there's like neighborhoods, pockets of single-family neighborhoods and things like that, where you would see more fluctuations in the rental season. But for the most part, if you're trying to find a great rental home in this area, you need to be thinking a lot more in advance than you would be in other areas. Okay. Point number 6 that you need to know if you're thinking about moving to Chapel Hill, and that is we also have a seasonal buying market. Now, this is tied to the university, but it's less so than, say, the rental market, because we don't have such a, the student population. However, we are considering more of the school year in general when it comes to the seasonal buying market. What that means is that a lot of families are looking to make their moves in the summertime when the kids are out of school. So we see a lot of properties come onto the market in springtime, and then kind of sell late spring, early summer, settle closing, and we see a lot of that movement happening in the summer while the kids are out of school. Although with last year, with all of the kids being out of school, we saw that kind of just get turned on its head, and that seasonal trend didn't really apply. However, this year we're starting to see it normalize and go back. So we anticipate, heavy activity in the spring going into the summer, and then it kind of slows down in September. Then we see a little bit boost into the winter time. So no reason to think it'll be any different this year. We'll be on track. Point number 5 to know when moving to the Chapel Hill area or thinking about moving to the Chapel Hill area is right now, like many other real estate markets, we have a low housing inventory. The builders have not been able to keep up with demand, and the resale, we're just not seeing the volume of resale of people willing to sell their homes, put their homes on the market that we need to see to meet the demand. So what does that mean? Well, we're seeing a lot of multiple offer situations. We're seeing a lot of offers go above list price. We're seeing people compete very heavily when it comes to due diligence, meaning they're putting a lot of money on the line right out of the gates just to say, hey, I want the opportunity to buy this home without really knowing the full condition of the home. It certainly puts a lot of exposure on the buyer in this case, but that's kind of the nature of the market that we're in. So if you're thinking about buying a home in this area, know that that's one of the things you'll have to contend with, is if you are in one of those price points that is in high demand, it is pretty competitive. There are ways to win out in those multiple offer situations. There's things that you can do to stand out and make your offer accepted. I'd be happy to talk about some of those things with you if you have any questions. Again, reach out to us in the contact information below. No pressure, happy to talk about it. But there are ways that you can win. We've helped people be very successful with that in multiple offer situations, and it's just kind of the nature of the game right now. The market will shift, it will normalize as more sellers start to realize that they can get great dollar for their homes right now. More will come to market, and then that will kind of level off. So right now it's more of a seller's market. However, with interest rates being what they are, buyers certainly have a shot in the arm too, and they have more buying power than they've had in quite a long time. So it's really just a thriving market on both sides, all around. Point number 4, if you are moving to the area, and you're planning on moving anytime around the end of July or the beginning of August, all of the moving companies, all of the local moving companies are going to be completely booked out. That's because the university students are flooding back to the town, and they have all of the U-Hauls, all of the rental trucks, all these companies, they're all booked up. So if you are thinking about moving around that time, you definitely want to call way in advance to get that booked, because they will start filling up fast. All right, point number 3 to consider if you're thinking about moving to Chapel Hill is that if you're not wanting to get into the competitive market, the competitive resale market buying a home, but you would like to own a home in North Carolina, one of the options is building a home. Well, the builders here are quite backed up. As you can imagine, like I said before, they're not really able to keep up with the demand right now. So we're seeing building projects getting pushed further and further out and not really being able to keep up. So if building your own home, building a custom home is kind of your plan or strategy, you definitely want to be building into that timeline the idea that these guys are backed up, and the project's going to be a little further down the road. We have a great network of builders that we work with that we would be happy to share with you as well, and they certainly work as quickly as they can. However, we're seeing so much demand right now for this area that it's putting them behind. So just one more thing to consider. Point number 2 to know when thinking about moving to this area, especially if you're moving from another part of the country, is that most of the homes in this area are built on a crawl space. So they don't have a basement, which means the crawl space is, it can range anywhere from 2 feet of space from a dirt ground to the bottom of the floor joists, all the way up to, something that you could walk underneath, and it's been completely sealed with a vapor barrier and a dehumidifier system. And you see all sorts of ranges in between of what makes up a crawl space. But basically, it's just the space between the bottom floor of the house and the ground. So it doesn't sit on a slab. There's no basement. You can't go down into it unless you have a split level or a basement. There are some homes that have basements, but you don't see it that often down here. You tend to see crawl spaces. Another thing that you don't see here that you see in a lot of places is pools. Most people don't have their own pool in their yard. They might have a neighborhood pool, or even more so what we see here there are clubs that you can, or like neighborhood clubs that you can join, and you pay an annual fee to join those clubs, and then you get to join, whether it's like tennis or swimming or whatever, racquetball, that sort of thing. You can participate in that, and we tend to see those kind of grouped by neighborhoods or regions, that sort of thing. And I don't think you necessarily have to live in a particular neighborhood to join those groups. You just have to either know somebody in that neighborhood or get kind of invited in, that sort of thing, or there are ones that just open to the public. So it kind of varies depending on each one. And then also along those lines, considering HOAs. So some neighborhoods, some people move here and they're familiar with HOAs and what they cover and what they ask of you and what they don't ask of you. And some people, it's a completely foreign concept. So a lot of the neighborhoods here, especially the newer, more pre-planned neighborhoods, they'll have HOAs that cover common area maintenance. They also cover, depending on the type of home you live in, if you live in a townhome, they'll cover exterior maintenance and that sort of stuff. Some of them don't cover anything other than, we will weed eat by the mailboxes every once in a while, and they'll charge you an annual fee for that. And those fees can range from, a couple bucks annually to a couple $100 monthly, depending on the amount of services that the HOA provides for you and how involved it is. So definitely something to consider when you're looking at a home, because that will affect your monthly payment. That's something that you have to consider on top of the mortgage and insurance and taxes and all that, is if there is an HOA, it's going to be an initial payment. So the last point number one that I will recommend to you to be aware of when moving to North Carolina is that there's a lot of things to consider. As you can see, we've gone through 7 of these things to think about our market, about knowing the market, and how to work and find a place that's going to be great for you to live. And so I would say point number 1 here is find a professional to work with. You can reach out to me and our team. We would love to help you. We help people move from all areas of the country, all areas of the world. In fact, we help international buyers all the time move to this area, but I strongly recommend getting in touch with a professional who knows the area, knows the marketplace, knows the timing of everything, because if you miss that timing, you can end up paying big. You can end up not being able to find a place, or just missing out on the right place for you. So I strongly encourage you to find a professional, work with a professional. If you want to reach out to us, please check out the contact information below, and we'd be happy to work with you. All right, those are our 7 points of things you need to know if you're considering moving to Chapel Hill. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. We'd love to answer them for you, or reach out to us at the contact information provided. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and keep an eye out for the next video. All right, take care. Bye.